Thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy podcast, where we delve into crazy creatures, evading extraterrestrials, horrifying haunted places, the unexplained, and the conspiracies that surround them. The following content will more than likely involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised. For bonus materials, uncut video versions of the episodes, and other great perks, go on over to patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy. Dollars for disclosure, half Sawbuck Snally, and Paranormal Posse members will get a shout out on the pod, access to the private Discord server, as well as more perks that you can find in each tier. However, if you are using an iOS application, I suggest that you sign up through a web browser to avoid the 30% fee that is charged through the app that is not at all related to the podcast. You will still be able to listen on the app, even though you sign up through the browser. So grab your rose colored glasses, skeptical suits, and hold onto your butts as we teleport into the realm of the CCC podcast. Hope to see you soon. Is Miss Liz from Outros at a Ghost? She's back on with us. We are getting ready to go on a trip on the podcast. We're a podcast trip, not an actual trip, although that would be fantastic.
It's a lot cheaper, though.
Get ready because it's going to be at least a 3-part. I think it's going to be stuck to 3-part, but the way I broke it up is one incident for part 1, one incident for part 2, and then we're going to handle the investigation and the man behind the curtain, so to speak, in the last part. So I wanted to get everything on here and get going. So in the beginning, that's funny. I just went biblical. Is there anything you've got going on or any upcoming stuff happening? I wanted to give an opportunity for you to throw that out there.
No, I'm lame.
No, I'm lame. I'm lame. Actually, you might be retiring, right?
Maybe.
Okay, you might be retiring from your current position.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, so there's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You might be retiring. I'm starting a new job, and I have seen some shit already.
I know. How are you liking that? Turning into a nocturnal animal.
Me being the true vampire that I am, I literally did not miss a beat. The moment I switched my schedule, I've had no problem staying up all night, and I have actually been able to sleep at least a solid. If I wake up, it's once usually, but I'm getting like 8 hours of solid sleep. So it is working miracles for my mental health. It is stressful and a little fast paced sometimes. I walked in on a leg laceration last night, and I knew the woman. It was listed as a leg laceration. I knew, but I didn't know how far or how bad or whatever. And so I walk into the room, and I saw the insides of this lady's leg, and I'm like, I was like, I literally opened the door, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, oh, sorry. I said, I was not, because it's like right there in front of my face. Like, it wasn't like I could have just avoided it. So then I'm like trying to ask questions and not stare at the leg, but I did not throw up and I did not pass out.
All right.
2 points for me. But yeah, we've seen some doozies. But people, I'm just going to say this now. Listeners out there, for the love of God, if you do not have an actual emergency, do not go to the emergency room. If you, I don't know, have the sniffles, you got a tummy ache, you know, your cat bit you. I shit you not. Your cat bit you. You got bit by a tick the same day. Not like you had symptoms and it might be Lyme disease. Literally, you just got bit. There's no way in hell that you would even know or that you could even be tested for anything. Please, for the love of God, just don't go to the emergency room. Call your actual doctor. And if you don't have one, get one. And if you're going to the emergency because you don't have insurance, get over yourself and get insurance. Okay? Just saying. Disclaimer. But anyway, any hoozles. I'm super excited because the last multi-parter that we did was the Tokoloshi.
Yes, that was so fun.
Oh my gosh, absolute blast. I still can't get over the suitcases. Every time I see a suitcase now, I think a Tokoloshi's going to pop out. And I chuckle and nobody knows why I'm laughing.
Just whip one over his shoulder. Yeah.
Exactly. And this time, our multi-parter is UFO based.
Ooh.
UAP, whatever. At the time this happened, they were still UFOs. So we are going UFO because it was not coined UAP yet.
Yeah. But we don't want to offend any UFOs out there.
Yeah. Don't at me. I am fully aware that I don't want anybody to be like the UAP, whatever. From BC era to current day, UFO encounters have been reported and documented, which we all know, right? Everything from hieroglyphs to there's all kinds of stuff throughout history. As
Yep.
far as we've been able to document, we've documented weird shit. But in the 1940s, we began to see an uptick in accounts from the Battle of LA, which I covered previously a long time ago, numerous encounters from the Air Force fighter pilots to the infamous Roswell incident. So these are some that I just pointed out to they're big ones that most people can account for. Not only are we talking about UFOs, we are specifically talking about the stuff that surrounded the whole coining of the term swamp gas.
Okay.
Which, shameless plug, I have a shirt on my store. It's on TeePublic and it's on my Squarespace store that is specifically made for this purpose. That it was actually my second design I ever made, or the first. It was the first or second, and it literally has a gas mask, and it just says it's just swamp gas.
That's awesome.
So this has been a long time coming, and I was wearing the T-shirt and was like, you know what, we're gonna do it. And then I found out there's a whole lot more to it than I remembered. But anyway, 40s, we got this going on. Then in the 50s, there were tons of accounts from the Lubbock Lights, the event in Washington, D.C., cigar-shaped crafts in Loveland, okay, here we go, Antonio Villaboas account, which I also covered in a previous episode,
All right.
and a crowd favorite, the Flatwoods Monster.
Ooh, I know that one.
That will be making a landing on the pod at a later date.
Yes.
Which I like to throw that one out because so many people love it. And I feel like it's just recently gotten some traction. I don't think it used to be as popular as it is like recently. I'd say in the last, 5-10 years, people are really hitting heavy on the Flatwoods Monster.
That dress. How can you not?
But is it a dress?
The outfit. How about that? Whether it's uniform or whatever.
Either way, up for debate at a later time.
All right.
Either way, during these times, the government gaslighted citizens by claiming their accounts were simply caused by misidentifications of weather balloons, diabetes, mass hysteria, or pretty much anything else.
Diabetes?
Yes!
Never heard that one. I don't know that much about aliens at all, though. I am
Okay.
such like an alien novice.
Okay, it's sightings in general that a lot of times, whether it's creatures or UFOs or aliens or ghosts or whatever, a big thing that people see is, do they have diabetes? Like they're having some kind of reaction to either too much or not enough sugar and they're hallucinating.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Low sugar equals a green dress. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh, this lady came in and I felt so bad because I couldn't think of the stupid word. And they said that her sugar was high. Mm-hmm. My brain, instead of thinking hyperglycemia, my brain put sugar high. The lady came in for a sugar high. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh. Nice, Natasha.
The lady training me was like, did she eat too much candy or what the hell are you talking about? I was like, oh my God. It was pretty funny. Now, the swamp gas excuse was added to the government's utility belt after a spat of UFO sightings that took place on March 20th and March 21st of 1966 in the small towns of Dexter and Hillsdale, Michigan, respectively. We're touching base on a few little ones, but these are going to be the two major ones that we talk about this week. This week's one, next week is the other. So we're going to get started out of the two with the quaint town of Dexter, nestled up in Washtenaw County, found in northwest of Ann Arbor. I am horrible with directions. I have no idea where that is. I just know that's what it is, and it sounded like a good directional reference if anybody knows what that means. I could not navigate my way out of a wet paper bag. So
yeah,
it means nothing to me. But now you guys know where we are if you know what's going on. You can at least Google it and find it. So again, Dexter, Michigan. Okay. The mid-60s were simpler times when portions of landscape still remained untainted by industrial iron fist. Dexter consisted of primarily farmland and wet marshes full of subspecies of squirrels, turtles, ducks, bald eagles, and frogs, just to give you an idea. We all can picture that, I think. Mm-hmm. Being a Midwesterner, we can all picture that. I guess not everybody can. But although there was a vast amount of lush marshlands in the area and other parts of the landscape, you could find rows and rows of corn stalks dancing in the breeze. With a population that didn't quite reach 2,000, much of the human interaction took place around Main Street during the daylight hours, which this is starting to sound an awful lot like my town.
It sounds like a horror movie so far,
Oh,
like, the setup that
I'm like, home
that
sweet home. And you're like, dear heaven, children of the corn.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was just gonna say.
I grew up right next to a cornfield. We alternate every year. We're not going to get into the technicalities, but essentially every other year it was corn. And then the field on the other side of the road was on the opposite. So at all times, I had cornfield on one side of my house, like big cornfields. So it always creeped me out. And I just couldn't watch the movies the whole way through because it freaked me out. I have also been chased out of a fence by a bull that we didn't know was out.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. We thought the bull was up. And we were somewhere doing something we weren't supposed to be doing. We were just kids goofing around. And we just thought it was just going to be regular cows. We go in and we got met with a very big surprise. I found out how fast I really was that day.
What a good exercise routine.
Giving us enough, we can put it all together. You get up, you try to ride the pig, you got to escape from the big pig. Then for lunch, you got to get that afternoon exercise. You go out, you get chased by a bull. Oh my
Natasha's
gosh.
boot camp.
Natty's booty camp.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is too accurate and too funny. I'm pretty sure you're going to find out real quick that there's a bit of a difference. Like I said, lots of farmland for anybody who is not from an area where farming is a huge thing. Typically, the fields are large, there are lots of them, and the houses are generally pretty spread out. And then you usually have a town, a quote unquote town, I guess, which is essentially a strip of your grocery store, your gas station. I don't know what they had all back then, but right currently, you basically got fast food, gas station, grocery store, probably a Walmart. Let's be honest, or or a Dollar General, and you essentially have that main drag, and then maybe some businesses like a block or so on either side, and that's pretty much the extent of the town. However, the easygoing sleepy town aura was shattered on the night that would go down in UFO history, which was March 20th of 1966. At the heart of the encounter, we find local farmer and Korean War veteran Frank Manor, his lovely wife Leona, and their teenage son Ronald. Ronald. That's it.
All right.
Their farm was cozied up between the woodland and swampy terrain of the lowlands. This is what I'm picturing. Small town family, like most in my own sleepy town, on a typical Sunday evening. Frank, still in his bib overalls, feet kicked up on the coffee table, hat pulled over his sleepy eyes, the schedule of tomorrow's chores running through his mind as he just tries to relax. Leona, continuing to rock that flattering hand-tailored dress depicted on most mainstream medias of a housewife chic meets pinup style, still cleaning up the dining room and doing the dishes following the home-cooked meal that she likely spent hours preparing and got no appreciation for.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Ronald, I'm assuming, sitting at his desk, lamp on. I'm picturing him as a type. He's got his nose in a good comic book. Comic books are just coming out. He's a teenage boy. Prime opportunity there to just do his teenage thing in his room. It's late. He's not doing his chores are probably already done. Homework's already done, whatever they've got going on. I'm assuming they have the TV in the background for noise since there's not much going on in a rural community as of yet. But at around 8:30, the family's 6 fur alarms started barking, drawing the family towards the window to see what the fuss was about. Frank and his son saw a red glow zip across the sky like a shooting star, reaching its destination above a swampy area just north of the home. Even more discerning was that the flashing lights flickered even after it came to a halt. The curious craft was reported to portray pulsating lights, which some accounts report green and red radiating lights, while other was more white and red pattern. We've got these flashing lights going on, and like most of us, the family was more curious about the strange light that hovered above the nearby marshy area. So the boys, the man, dad, Frank, and son, Ronald, initiated investigation protocol, leaving the mother alone inside the house, typical patriarchal form.
She wasn't done cleaning. Yeah.
Get in there, stay in there, clean, woman. We're gonna go investigate because we're the men of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But both men stood in disbelief as they watched the craft zip back and forth behind the trees and brush before it shot up about 500 feet, which is right about 152.5 meters. You're welcome. Of the ground before just descending. So it's zipping around, it goes up, it comes down. While getting closer to the swampy landing zone, a pair of small legs protruded from the bottom, preparing for landing if necessary. Not like people legs or species legs. It's literally you have object, it starts to descend, and two little legs like landing gears.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like he was Fred Flintstoning it. Like that's what I was picturing. It's two little alien legs popping out. Like, all right, we gotta start. You gotta run slow.
Like extraterrestrial kickstands. Essentially. It was then that Frank and his son saw a football or oval shaped saucer about the size of a car at the time, which again, cars back then were much larger than the compact ones we have today. So when I say size of a car, don't think smart car. Think like an actual
like
classic vintage car, a real car. People are going to be hating me. It's okay. But so this huge thing about the size of, like I said, a large car is hovering just above the swampscape of their property. There's a drawing associated with the event that shows a dome atop the automated astral object, courtesy of Officer David Severance. I love how we have the artiste. There also looks to be lights on both ends of the shape and one larger light fixed in the middle. I just sent you a text of the drawing.
All right.
So like I said, we've got football shape. It's got a dome on the top. It looks like it's got lights on both points and then one in the middle. And then the two, what they have labeled in the thing is antennas that come down.
All right.
The pair dashed inside to grab their handy dandy flashlights to guide their way to the mysterious machine. And the ship, once they got close enough, was said to wield a waffle-like grid texture on the surface. So this gave the exterior of the object a very quilted look, which I'll try to remember to put the photo in, like maybe as something somewhere. I'll post it on social media if I can remember to look it up. But if I don't, just Google 1966 Michigan UFO in Google and hit images, and you will see it. It basically looks like a checkered UFO.
Yeah, it looks like an eyeball almost.
It does. So that's what I was thinking too. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, like a giant eye in the sky. Ooh, conspiracy theory.
I'm trying to read
my eyebrow raises.
I'm just trying to read what he wrote underneath it. After the sightings, the witness, or is that what you just read?
No, go ahead. I didn't put that in there.
The witnesses put together this composite drawing at the, some sheriff's headquarters, showing the lights, surface, and antenna.
Everybody referred to it as quilted, and I kept thinking of Bounty, the quilted quicker picker-upper. Now, they do say a low humming could be heard as they approached the craft. So from a distance, nobody heard anything. But as they approached the craft, they were able to hear a low humming noise. And just as suddenly as it appeared, the lights turned off and the vessel vanished into thin air. Just poof, gone. After witnessing the strange event, Frank went inside and phoned the local police to report what they had seen. Having little crime in the small town of Dexter, Washtenaw County Sheriff Douglas J. Harvey picked up the phone, likely expecting a noise complaint or a typical petty crime. Maybe somebody tipped my cow or something. Unlike many extraterrestrial encounters, Harvey did not mock or disregard the report, but rather showed up full force, ready to search the property for possible imposters.
Oh, wow. Him.
One thing that helped the family with their authenticity was that officers on duty that same night had reported strange happenings during their patrols as well. So, on one hand, kudos to Mr. Harvey, but he had already been getting a bunch of reports from fellow officers, so it set him up, I think, to be more accepting. Either way, he accepted it, and kudos to that, because that does not happen in the world of UFO sightings.
And you said that it went up. I just, like, it vanished. They didn't see it go up to the side, anything else. They just saw lights go out and gone.
Yeah, so that's what I found as far as the account goes. Now, I don't know, one, how close they got. I don't know how close they got to the craft. It's dark, again, rural community at
How do you
night.
say that word?
Rural?
That's so hard for me to say.
That's because I'm not from I'm not from your
Rural.
state.
Rural. It just, I don't
Rural.
know. It's like you have to almost bark to say it. I
Rural.
hate that word so much.
Then the family reports it. Then officers from Monroe County, Livingston County, and even a place called Sylvania, Ohio, documented reports of, quote, red-green objects moving at a fantastic speed. Same night.
Is there military bases anywhere near this?
Good question.
All right.
Let me see here.
I'll just listen to the whole thing first so I can see
Okay.
where
Well,
they
we'll
went
come
with
back.
it.
We'll come
Yeah.
back to that. So for anybody out there, I don't know. Just I am pleading ignorance. But also it was the 60s, so I don't know how airplanes even functioned then. It's up in the air, depending on what you believe.
I see what you did there.
What's funny is I did not mean to do that. Oops.
Natasha's so punny.
Yeah, I know. I'm the funniest person I know. Who are you kidding? But what I thought was interesting was one sheriff deputy went on the record stating that whatever he had witnessed that evening was, quote, the weirdest thing I've ever seen, end quote. Now, granted, trust me, if you're from a small, in the 60s, probably was a little bit more chill. There's not a whole lot going on. So really anything out of the ordinary is pretty strange. But this is, he, like I said, he was a little concerned and said that it was the weirdest thing he'd ever seen. A band of officers scoured through the mud and muck of the swamp in search of the odd anomaly or evidence thereof. As you could probably guess, nothing concrete was found in the foliage, per the norm. The only bit of potentially convincing evidence was depressed grass in a circular pattern above where Frank and his son claimed to have seen the craft lower and hover. Other than that, nothing.
How big
No,
of a circumference are we talking?
it didn't tell me.
Because if it was like a huge spaceship size, that's
But
pretty
remember,
interesting.
the craft is only the size of a car. This is not a huge mothership coming down.
Yeah, that's true.
But even still, depending on how it is propelling itself, if there's any wind or anything, the circle would, in theory, be larger than the craft itself. It's the size of a car, and it says saucer shaped, but I didn't see any accounts where it turned up at all, like on its side, to show that it was actually round. They just saw it from the side, if the literally the top was top and the bottom was bottom, and it looked like a football. So I don't know what the backside looked like or what the, oh my gosh, anterior posterior view. Oh my god. Woo! All right. But the upper bottom
Superior,
view.
inferior.
Yeah, inferior, superior.
So basically it's a 2D, two-dimensional thing that they saw.
That's all we have a rendering of. There's nothing that anybody said that I was able to find in this account where it had turned either direction. It was just simply zip, up, down, hover, disappear, kaboof. But I guess essentially we'll just assume that it's circular because there was a circular bit of grass that had been pushed down in the area. Now, we could speculate a whole bunch of, oh, did somebody put it there? Did somebody not put it there? But as far as I'm understanding, the response time was pretty quick. So if somebody were to put this down in the exact same spot that these men saw this, that's a lot of hubbub, because it's not like the boys were standing out there. It was, they go out, they see the thing, and they're like, son of a bitch. They actually, did they call before?
I thought you said they called
I think
after,
they,
unless I'm
yeah,
crazy.
that's what I thought. But it's not like they were just like waiting around for 5 hours. Trust me, again, small town, depending on how far out of town, we're talking probably 20, 30 minutes max, I would assume. Um, but to get something at that time, to put that mark in, to even think about needing to put that in is pretty crazy in my thought, because it's not like today where we've had like damn near 100 years of stuff going on and knowing how things work or having theories about how things work. It was all pretty new. So I don't think they would have had the wherewithal to think to fake anything, if even if they wanted to. I don't think they would have even put that together.
Yeah.
But during the next 3 hours, as the search was underway, around 50 more sightings in total were reported.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is just one night. So by the next eve, reporters swarmed the manor's once simple and quiet piece of property, conducting interviews and demanding to see the exact landing location of the local mystery. They also questioned the sheriff, trying to poke holes in the manor's story. But to their surprise, Harvey stood firm on his trust in the local residents and his subordinates, as he confidently responded, quote, "These people have seen something. I know, I trust my men and I trust their reports. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure they have seen something aloft," end quote. So he didn't back down. He didn't swamp gas. He didn't do any of that. He was, I am telling you, all these people are saying the exact same thing and they're not close to each other necessarily. My men are telling me, and I trust my deputies and officers and all of that. And to me, that says a lot, that he's not backing down. He's like, I am telling you, like, these guys would not make this up. Something. And he does claim, I don't know what it was, but they saw something. So kudos to them on that one too.
So all the reports were just lights, or other people claim to have seen ships as well, or
So the
football
main,
shaped thing?
yeah,
Eye in the
I,
sky. Sorry.
yeah, eye in the sky. I want to say that the most with this particular one with the craft was, they saw the craft. It was on their property. They saw it. It was right there. And again, rural community, they're not going to be that close. So especially at night, no street lamps are out there. There's no lights out there. Like, they had to go get a flashlight to go see.
But their family
And
saw this. I'm just wondering if the other families saw the same, because
well,
who's
my
to
thing
say it's
is
just not military something that went through?
my thing was is because they are so stretched out as far as residents, like residential establishments, they wouldn't have been close enough to see a ship. They would have only seen the lights because they were too
That's
far
true.
away to see an actual craft. Because even the boys, they saw the lights and the flickering and the zooming, but they didn't see an actual craft until they got their flashlights out and went up to it. So had they not gone in and got their flashlights and went out for a second look, they probably wouldn't even have seen it.
Okay.
So that's just theorizing, but as far as I can understand, they're the only ones that saw the craft. Everybody else just saw flashing and zooming and all of that stuff. Again, this is for the first few hours afterwards. They're getting more sightings in, so it might have bamfed off the face of the earth at their location at the manor residence, and then the lights came on periodically as it was moving through the area. Does that
All
make
right.
so? I
Yeah.
feel like different things were happening. So it's not 50 sightings were on this exact same time, date, place thing. It was, this happens over the next few hours. They're getting more and more reports in, which I'm assuming, again, because it's going to be people that are in different areas, getting different views and that kind of thing. And with it being so dark, and there aren't places like there are now where we have 3 times that amount of people in that area. So it's going to be fewer people spread out more. It's going to be darker because you're not having those city lights. There's probably a sleepy town with maybe a few street lamps and a stoplight, maybe.
Yeah, but that probably makes it super easy to see lights if they are up there.
Exactly. It would see the lights, but you wouldn't be able to see a craft. I feel like
Yeah.
the craft would be darker because, again, too, if you're seeing eyeball light, pupil light, and then 2 lights at the end, depending on how bright they are, they're going to, how when you look at really bright light in the dark, sun bursts out, you know what I'm saying? Like it looks like the light
Mm-hmm.
explodes. Or maybe it's just because I have astigmatism.
Oh my gosh, I
So
have it so bad at night now.
so I have it really bad at night. It's awful. But I just think that they would see the lights, and with them pulsing and stuff, it doesn't say how fast necessarily or how slow or any patterns. So all of the flashing would probably disorient people anyway, and they wouldn't be able to really get a good grasp of what it is. Were the lights moving? Were they not moving? It could be zipping around. And if the lights are flashing slow, it could be going in all different areas before the lights come back on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like it'd be a little harder for that. Unfortunately, not everyone got on board with the idea of a UFO invading Michigan skies. Life got a little difficult for the Manners with them having their phones. Woo! With them having their house vandalized. People were taking bottles and chucking them at the house and even breaking their windows.
Oh my gosh.
You've got to think too, they're probably thinking this whole family's off their rockers, they're insane, they're this, they're that, they're the other. And as much as I'd love to say that in the 21st century that's not a problem, it very much so is still a problem.
Oh, definitely.
The sheriff. So he's getting all these reports, things are coming in. Now we've got news crews, we've got, I guess, journalists. I don't know how many news crews there were in the 60s, but you have
I picture him with
journalists.
that huge camera.
Yeah.
And he's
Lugging it around.
extra.
You'd have to hook it to a horse because it's so big. You have people that are, I guess, journalism and all of that, trying to get the scoop. They're flooding the place. People are vandalizing the house. There's no answers. They're looking around. They're searching the woods. They're searching the swamps. They're searching everywhere in the vicinity. And there's no answer. There's essentially just a circle in the ground, and that is it. And 51 sightings. That's it. Probably more than that. I do 51. I do 50 sightings afterwards and the families. But then I guess there were also police officers prior to that reporting stuff, but it didn't give me a number of how many. So we'll just say upwards of probably 60.
That's a significant amount of reports,
Yes, for one
especially
night.
when you said it's all spread out so far. So it's not like this one city street corner that saw it. This is over 50 reports spread out.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yep, 100%. And I would like to point out that it does say the house was vandalized. It does not say who vandalized it. I doubt it was adults vandalizing the house.
It's Ronald's friends.
Yeah, or I guess lack
His
thereof.
enemies. Yeah.
And
frenemies.
it's like when what they used to do in the old days, you'd put dog poop in a paper bag and light it on fire in front of the old man's door so that he would step on it and put it out, and then he'd step in dog shit. It's just stupid crap that the kids did. And even to this day, they go out and they vandalize. I don't know. I just want a disclaimer that we don't know who vandalized it. It could have been just kids dicking around. We don't know. It might have just been bored kids in the community thing.
Plot twist. It was the sheriff.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. But anyway, so Harvey's seeing all these things. Things are getting out of hand. And he realizes that he needs assistance. He reaches out to multiple federal agencies, but again, ignored after each attempt. So whereas he was open to the reports and all of that, the people that he was reaching out to were very much just ignoring him. And you've got to put into consideration, Project Blue Book was already a thing. It was a thing. I feel like it was established enough at that point that if they were raising concerns to a federal level, someone should have taken them seriously initially, not waited until later to step in. Desperate for answers, he got absolutely no responses, but he was determined and he contacted his very own congressional representative, Weston Vivian.
Ooh, Weston's on the case.
Yeah. For those familiar with the typical response regarding UFO ideologies, you will be shocked to hear he was not shunned. He was not quieted down. He was not ignored at this level. So, hats off to Weston. And Weston, after throwing their weight around and pulling enough strings, he allured the attention from the Air Force. So much so that they dispatched a member of Project Blue Book, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who we'll be discussing in more depth, which is going to be in part 3. So they actually dispatch an investigator from Project Blue Book to the area.
That's crazy that they're actually taking him serious. Like, it's not a bad thing. I'm just shocked. But they at least sent somebody out from Project Blue Book. That
sent someone out to actually investigate. I'm doing air quotes for everybody who can't see the video. Again, when I go over Hynek in part 3, you will understand that you're like, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't as big of a deal as you thought. But they did send someone.
All right.
It was like, hey, I need you to grab this box of tissues that's down in the basement, and there's no basement.
Okay.
But anyways, we'll get into that. Speculation that the media coverage influenced the reports of some seemingly innocent college kids 60 miles southwest of Dexter in a town now forever known as Hillsdale. And that is where we are going to stop this segment of the mischievous Michigan Martians. And we will continue with the other batch of sightings that happened the following day next week. I've never actually had a multi-parter where I actually stop the episode. Usually it just like ends and it like just cuts off, and because we just do it all at once. So we were prepared this time. But yeah, so we got 1966, sleepy small town out in the middle of nowhere. This regular plain Jane farm-fed family is just chilling until their dogs start freaking out. And they go out because they're like, what the hell are they barking at? Probably out there screaming at them, I'm sure. And they look up and they see all these lights. They get up to it. They see an actual craft, so much so that they could identify the fact that it had grid lines on it and 2 little legs that came out. It's zipping around and then poof. And then 50 more sightings in the area happen over the next few hours. Police get involved. They immediately go out to investigate, which I thought was impressive. I am more impressed with the local police than anyone else in the story or this account.
I'm just trying to think the mindset, because you said Project Blue Book was going out. So I wonder if like people were at the time like reading Time magazine, like aliens, they're here. And that's why the police were doing it. Or I don't know. I'm just trying to put myself in their headspace and I can't.
I know that typically, now granted, I don't know what it was like in the 60s, but I know that a lot of small, even we have a local paper. And our local paper covers our area and like surrounding areas.
Hmm.
You don't see a lot of national stuff in our local paper. Now, again, not to say that they might have done that back in the day. I don't know. I've never seen a paper from 1966. But another thing too is it's a rural community. These people probably they're using the Farmer's Almanac at this point, probably for their crops.
It's cool that they're all looking at him like he's not. Usually you'd see him and be like, oh, that's the crackpot family. But they're actually like listening to him, going out and investigating it. Some people.
There's a few things. One, like you said, established in the community, very respected. It just seems like an all-American, traditional, family-esque group. Now, my question would be, had the other officers not reported multiple encounters that same night or same sightings, would they have believed the family? Do you think they would have believed the family if the other officers had not reported encounters?
I think they were less likely to believe the family. I don't know if they just would write it off because you said some other officers saw stuff as well. So,
Yeah, I'm just thinking if the officers had not reported anything, I
yeah.
don't think that they would have went out and investigated that night. They would have probably just been like, "Okay, that's weird," and then just written it off. I don't even know if they would have
Yeah.
filed it at that point. And I'm almost wondering is if they responded so quickly, maybe the officers had reported something and they had dispatched other officers trying to increase, like maybe something weird's happening. Maybe we should increase, maybe send some people out just in case. Because what else are they going to do? It's a small town. But maybe they were already out and that's why they responded so fast. But from what I gathered, Harvey showed up himself and saw the lights at some point. I think we'll get into it later on, but I'm pretty sure that he actually saw, at least at the very least, saw the lights.
Hmm.
And so it's hit and miss. So you have the police showing up, which is great. And then the police officer reaches out to tries to level up, like, I'm going chain of command. We're going up to the federal, and the federal's, I don't know. I don't hear anything. So but he is so determined to figure out. That's the other thing. He could have let it die. He could have just brushed it off and been like, oh, like just swept under the rug and move on. Oh, I did my due diligence. I reported it. If they're not showing up, they're not showing up, but whatever. But he didn't. He was like, no, I want answers because my men saw something. These people saw something and I want answers. Love the curious mind. It is fantastic. Harvey, you're the shiznit. And so he went out to the congressional level and was like, listen, you represent us. That is your job. Your job is to help us. So do your job.
Right.
And Weston was like, I got you, boo. And was like, I mean, he was,
That was verbatim what he
yeah,
said.
yeah, I got you, boo. Um, and what I thought was interesting about it was it's not like he went to one place and reported it. From my research, what I gathered was he pulled multiple strings. Like he threw his weight around to get some attention, to get someone sent there. He did not give up either. And that's why I'm like, man, we need more people in office today like this, where they listen and they're willing to do something about it. And like I said, it's a small community in Michigan.
This is
I could,
this is
hmm?
so off topic, but I my whole life didn't believe in aliens. I was like, that's so ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like ET, like, yeah,
Hmm.
okay. But as
I've
I
never seen
started
that
the
movie.
podcast, it's so good. I love Drew Barrymore. But as I started the podcast and actually learned, I didn't even know like that there were different types of aliens until I
Yep.
read Leslie's book. Like
Hmm.
I'm so ignorant on alien stuff. But then when you have
Oh,
Congress coming out with the freaking that whole meeting that they televised about having knowledge of aliens and this and that. Now I'm actually super interested in it, but I know nothing about it.
it's what I think is so crazy is they had the big flaps back when they first started having these sightings, and everybody just beefed it up and everybody talked about it. Then you had War of the Worlds coming on, which just ruined, just destroyed everybody's mental state. And I feel like, in all honesty, I feel like things were taken more seriously, or at least were investigated, whether it be by local enforcement agencies or even communities that were trying to get answers. But then War of the Worlds happened. And then when they finally found out that it wasn't real, I think they used that to write off a bunch of stuff. Oh, it's just because people are hearing about it. It's just because of this. It's just because of that. And I almost wonder if had that not happened, if the investigatory atmosphere for UFO sightings, if it would have progressed rather than go back. We want progress, we don't want regression. And I feel like that hindered us a lot. And then because of that, then you've got the whole Roswell situation. And I feel like it just strayed farther and farther away from getting answers. And it was just people don't want to know. Because when people reacted thinking that broadcast was real, I feel like that set up all kinds of agencies, all kinds of people everywhere that they did not want something to be real, because when people freaked out
Oh,
over something fake, imagine what they would do if they found out it was real. And I think that made a lot of people skittish. And
would you want to know? Because if there's something going on and you can't do anything about it, there's nothing you can do to
I would
change
want to know.
anything.
I would want to know mainly because if I were to see something, I would feel a lot more at ease knowing something might be there. I don't like it's like a jump scare, right? If you don't know it's coming and it gets you, I cannot stand that. But if I know it's coming, then it's okay. Like this is a little easier to deal with because I'm prepared. You can mentally prepare yourself for anything to happen. Maybe it's just me, but oh, and so I want to point out, so the book she's talking about is Leslie and Stephen Shaw. And I want to see, what is it, who they are and where they come from, or dang it, no.
When I had them on, I said the title wrong. It was a fantastic book.
Yeah, I just want to make,
What are
I
they?
love giving them shout outs because
Who they are?
they
What?
are amazing people. I had them on the show and they were great. So their book is, again, Leslie and Stephen Shaw, and it is Who They Are and What They're Up to. If you were to witness something anomalous in the sky, would you report it?
Depends on what it was. If I could, anomalous though.
If you saw these flashing lights darting across the sky and then hovering and then going up, down, and all of the stuff, you're close enough to it that you see a football shape with a dome and two little pegs the size of a freaking car, so close that you can see that there's grid lines on it. Would you report that?
I honestly don't know.
See, I don't know. I would probably ask around first.
Yeah, I could see doing that, like going to neighbors. Hey, did you see that? Did you see that? And if I get confirmation, then maybe.
Okay, but we got to factor this in. We have been programmed with all of the what is it, misinformation, disinformation, whatever, not true, false information. And we have grown up knowing about the stigma behind reporting these things. But if you did not have any inkling, or oh my gosh, if you did not have any inclination that if you reported it, you would be ridiculed, you would be made fun of, or whatever, you would be scrutinized. I feel like that makes a big difference. If I did
Yeah.
not know that I was going to get ridiculed, I feel like if I knew or if I didn't know that, that would happen, I would probably report it because I'd be like, dude, this is some weird shit. Someone's in my property. Because again, rural communities, you're like, dude, there's some, you need GTFO.
Yeah, minus the stigma, but also if you call the local police department and let them know, what do you think they're gonna do? They'll be like, all right, I'll write it up. Like they're not gonna do anything with it. But if
I
they weren't supposed to be there and they're two men, they can at the minimum go up and do like a field interrogation, you know what I mean?
hmm?
Just, hi, how are you? What are you doing here? Well, they're not stopping them, but they can just talk to him and be like, that's very different than a spaceship, that looks like a paper towel in the sky with two little legs.
I'm just singing the song in my head. But two, also, you got to think the livelihood of this community revolves around the farmers at the time. It's not like they had factories or anything like that in this community that I am aware of. It was strictly a farming community. So those crops are the blood of that community. So if something is messing around with that property and destroying those crops or potentially destroying those crops, they are a threat to the community, not just this family. So
Yeah.
I can see them being like, we better go figure this out real quick because if it's showing up at this farm, it might show up at the next farm and the next farm and the next farm, and we could have a bigger problem on our hands.
The box and the bigger box and the bigger
Yeah, put that
box.
box in
Sorry.
another box. That is like the second or third week in a row I've had this reference on the show. I made it last week. Put that box in another box. I mailed it to myself. Anyway, but yeah, I just feel like I was impressed with how they handled the situation up until the federal point. I was definitely taken aback, actually, because I wasn't ready for it to be like, oh, like I read it more than once going, wait, they listened?
Yeah.
They didn't degrade them or write it out. People, like, they responded, by golly. They did their jobs. And you don't hear that happening very often. So
True.
definitely hats off to that. Do you have any other thoughts on it or opinions on how you would have handled it, how they handled it? Any
No, I'm
criticism?
excited to hear what goes on. Like, I want to know after investigating, were there ships in the area? What are the possible causes? And that's what I'm more into when you get into
Yes.
that. I'm waiting for that.
So I'm excited because, again, this is one family, essentially only two people of the family. And we never, again, it's the 60s, we never heard what the mom's viewpoint was
She
or
was
what she saw. She was
she
probably in
was
there just
vacuuming.
vacuuming. I love how we're both thinking that the housewife's vacuuming her house at like 9 at night.
And our pearls, yep.
I would like to point out that it is currently what? Midnight at my
Yeah.
house. And when I get done here, I am literally going to vacuum my house because I can and I work nights now, so I'm up. But I just thought that was funny
Because
that they
I
don't.
can.
Yeah, but there's two people that actually see the craft that I am aware of. I'm not sure how close the sheriff got. I think I bring it up in later at some point. I'm not sure why I didn't think to put it here, but I'm pretty
Yes.
sure I cover it. But either way, there's a very limited amount of people that actually see the saucer. There's not very many. A lot of people see lights, but not as many people see the saucer. Next week, when we go over Hillsdale. Let me just get a little Midwestern on you. It's going to be a big difference. I feel like it is more intense. Things really escalate and it brings this whole spat like way into the forefront of the news community. So it's going to be really intense next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, seriously, disclaimer, I'm totally shameless plugging this. Go check out my store and I don't care if it's T Public. So I actually have one. I got mine from T Public. It's tie dye and it's just swamp gas on it. But definitely go
Ooh.
check it out. I've got some other alien merch on there as well and stuff like that for anybody who's interested in that stuff. But yeah, so I guess we'll wrap this up and we'll continue next week. All right.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and give the show a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show and allows people to find us more easily. Also, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and subscribe to any of the tiers. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shoutouts on the pod, ad-free episodes, access to the private Discord server, quarterly appreciation gifts, and a chance to be on the show. Not to mention video versions of the episode. Before you go, don't forget to click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some self-designed merch by me, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please send them to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experiences on a listener episode. Just make sure that you specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show and let me know whether or not you would like your real name read or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you guys all again so much for your support. Until next time, my friends. See ya.